Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Joe Dumont of sightedmoon.com, and we are having a guest speaker all the way from the Philippines, a secret guest speaker, and that I wasn't supposed to know about. But right now we have technical problems going on, so we can't get a hold of Ike right now. So we're going to start with prayer, and we're going to ask God to intervene on our behalf and help open up the technical challenges that are facing us. Our Father Jehovah, our powerful and great Creator, we thank you, Father, once again for the Sabbath, a time to draw closer to you, to learn more about you, to grow to know you better. It's also a time for us to fellowship with each other, and we thank you, Father, that we are able to do this around the world over the internet. Such amazing technology that your prophets never saw or understood or could understand what it is that we're able to do today. So thank you for this blessing. We ask your intervention, Father, to reconnect Ike so that he can give the teaching today. It's late there where he is, and we ask that you would bless us so that we can hear him. In the meantime, we ask that you bless the discussion that we're about to begin, and that you be with us all and guide us in serving you and drawing closer to you and helping others to also draw closer to you. And we ask this for the glory of your name. In the name of Jehovah we pray. Amen. So, I have a question, and as some of you know, we're all at different levels of understanding. So there's one question I was asked by a new person who said they could not understand some of the things that we were talking about. They tuned in last week, and they might even be here this week, and I forgot their name. But their question was, that we talked in stuff that was above them. And it's not that we meant to do that. It's not that we were trying to do that. It's just that it happened. And that's part of the question I'm going to be posing to you. So this one is from Aike Quintana, who's very shy. Now, the Filipinos are always very shy. They're very shy, and then once they get to know you, they open up. Then you can't stop them from talking. So, and I say that affectionately, but they are the most humble of people. So her question that she's asking, and she might be on here today, and I haven't looked to see if she's here or not. And this is a discussion, so it's not just a question, and it's because I've been pushing in my newsletter to encourage you all to invite other people. Now, some of you can go out there and invite people to this meeting here today on Facebook right now, but to encourage you to invite others to get involved in this work. And how do you do that? So the Aike has been inviting pastors to come and listen to this group that she's involved in. I'm not sure what the group is, QC. I didn't know what that was. But she's been asking these pastors, and they come and they get into these heated debates, both the pastors and the Torah group that she's inviting them to. So here's her question. When Yeshua sent his disciples to go and find the lost sheep of Israel during his ministry, he gave them an instruction that if a certain house city does not receive them, they would shake the dust off their feet, thus pronouncing judgment against that city. However, in Matthew 7, Yeshua also wants us not to judge so that you won't be judged. So my question is this: how do we know when to give up on some people we want to win? Okay, so there's a couple points right there in that question alone. Or how do we know when we need to keep sharing? So let's address the first part. When do you know when to shut up and walk away? And when do you know to keep, I don't want to say pushing, but to keep making your point and keep on trying? Anybody got an answer? Anybody want to start off the talk on this while we're waiting for Ike to come in?
May I? May I?
Yeah, who is this? I heard you singing, but I didn't know who.
Stephen. I'm Stephen from Oregon.
Stephen from Oregon, okay.
I have learned God put people in our life that we need to deal with and learn to deal with. um, God has been putting people in my life that some of them are very good friends, but some of them are like sandpaper to me.
Okay, so
And
how do
and
you, so Stefan, how do you know when to keep sharing this message to the sandpaper people or when to shut up?
well, lately I must have to learn to listen to God. When the things turn that I could not manage them, or they are over my control and my head, God has asked me to keep aside for a little bit. And has restricted some fellowship or sharing with the person. I have one of my testimony is one person that God told me to not relate for some time. The person fall in the hospital. Then I went. I broke that. I broke that. What God asked me, and I was helping her because she didn't have any help. I was helping her during all the time that she was in the hospital. And we need to begin to learn how and the ways that God allows us to relate with that person. And if we obey God, the relationship got healed. All the ones, all the purpose of that person, if are on our life, all the wins and hurt that we have got healed.
Okay, so the question still is, how do you know when to stop talking to someone who you're trying to win? And there's another question. Are you trying to win somebody over? Is that what you're supposed to be doing? Okay, so is
No,
it a win-loss thing? Are we trying to win people and lose people? Is that what we're supposed to be doing?
no, I learned that we need to role model.
To
We
role
need
model.
we need to be a good role model for that person. And that's sometimes where the sandpaper comes up because we have our personalities, right? And God gave me a song like 2 years ago, and the song says that every person is a bridge that I need to cross. Every person is a bridge that I need to cross. And always trust God because God has purposes in having that person in our lives.
Okay, when I meet somebody, whether it's somebody I just met on the street or somebody that's a religious person, I send out a little test question or test statement, and I see how they react to it. Are they picking up on the religious part of the question or comment that I made, or are they ignoring it and moving on to some other, changing the subject? If they change the subject, I just carry on with that and I don't bring it up again. But if they take the bait and they start to talk about, you know, all the evil that's going on in the world, or they say something that is, then I test them a little bit more, and I, see how much further they want to go. I've been accused. I can't figure out why, that my personality rubs against people for some strange reason. I am the most loving, kind person that I've ever met. I don't know how come I would rub against somebody and make them mad by my questions or statements. So, and I know none of you could see that in me, so we won't even touch that subject. But how do you guys, anyone else out there, how do you approach this subject? You have to unmute yourself.
Bunny?
Hey, Joe.
Hi, Kevin, go ahead. Before you start, Kevin, and if you raise your hand in the side column here, then I'll see that you want to speak up, and then I can address you, because right now I don't see. Oh, there is a hand up there. Sorry, I missed it. Yeah, so put your hand up in the side there in the chat room, and then then I'll know that you're ready to say something. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I don't have the answer to this question, but it's one I've been asking for several months. You know, we're maybe a year, coming on a year and a half into our walk since we left our church. And, you know, I was in a Methodist church and I was co-leading a men's group, Bible study men's group. And after we left the church, I stayed in that group for probably 8 months, I think. And, you know, I started to communicate my new beliefs, and, you know, they were these men who I had built relationships over 3 or 4 years. You know, I called them my brothers. And I was very close to all of them. And, you know, at the time I got to a point, they weren't rejecting what I said, but they weren't accepting it either. I didn't seem to have any impact on them. You know, they would support me in what I was choosing to do, but, you know, they weren't willing to follow me down that road, or, you know, they weren't even asking questions. You know, they wouldn't dig deep into it. So I ended up leaving the group, you know, and my worry was that I'm not having an impact on them after 6 to 9 months. Are they having an impact on me? Are they holding me back in my growth? So I ended up leaving because I thought that was the case. Like, I needed to go off on my own and be stronger in my new beliefs, and then maybe I would come back. And, you know, I've been feeling lately, it's weird that you bring up this subject today. I don't think that's a coincidence, because it's been on my mind for weeks. And, you know, I still talk to some of these men, and, you know, they're still willing for me to come back into this group, and they're still willing to hear what I have to say, but, you know, they don't agree. They've made it clear they do not agree with my beliefs. So, but I feel compelled. I feel like I'm not, you know, part of growing is being able to teach and testify and witness. And I feel like I'm missing that opportunity to do that now. So I feel compelled to go back, just because it's an easy way for me to continue talking about my beliefs to other, you know, people, and having them challenge that, you know, whether that's a good thing or not. So I don't know what the answer is. I keep searching for it. Obviously, you see Nancy, she doesn't think I should go back to this group and I should speak to these men anymore. But, you know, she has told me to cast your net to the other side. You're not catching fish, throw the net on the other side of the boat. And, you know, I guess I'm searching what's the other side of my boat? You know, where's a new group of men that, you know, I can join and testify to.
My opinion's different, because what he's not telling you is the same group of men openly rejected our beliefs and then ganged up and organized themselves to take us. I don't know if any of you have heard of Walk to Emmaus weekend, but basically that was kind of their last ditch effort to kind of get us back into the church. And it was, if anyone at all has heard me talk or even can see a glimpse of my personality, you know I am not going to bow down to idols and other things and stand up and not say what I believe. And so it was a weekend where they separate the men from the women. And so I went first, and it was all women, and I was berated and put into a room by myself for hours because I wouldn't take communion 4 times a day because of what it says in, is it Colossians? Where it says, if you take communion, I don't know the whole part of it, paraphrase, but basically if you do that, then you're eating, if you haven't repented, then you're eating judgment on yourself. And that's why the body often becomes weak, ill, and often dies. So personally, I don't know what everyone else believes, and it's something I haven't studied to great length, but I don't think communion's supposed to be meant to be eaten 3 times, 4 times a day. In addition to that, there were crosses in every room, and please forgive me if anyone in here, has crosses or, whatever, but for us, to me, it's another idol. It doesn't represent my Yahovah. It doesn't represent my God. It's just a piece of wood or a piece of porcelain or a piece of gold. And so they would wheel out this huge cross, and we were supposed to literally bow down to it. And so my long story short, these are the same men, and I refused to do it, and everyone got pissed off at me. And why won't you bow down a cross? And I gave them my reasons, but it didn't matter. And then I was, it was just, for me, a terrible weekend. And then what happened was I told them about it because it's supposed to be secret. If anyone looks up Walk to Emmaus, it's supposed to be a secret walk. And then I told him about it. And then I said, I want you to go just to experience what I experienced. And then he went, and when you go for the weekend, you don't see anybody. You have no phone, you have no nothing. And then at the very end of the weekend, you have people come and support you and show their love for you. So that's when I came. So I'm expecting him to walk out like, this is BS. I can't believe everything you said was true. This is ridiculous. They're having me bow down to idols. It's just like you said, we took communion like 4 or 5 times a day. This is crazy. And he came out with tears in his eyes, and he's going, I love this play. I love you, brothers. And I'm like, what in God's name? And so these are the guys he's talking about who have openly said, what you're saying is so not true. What you're saying is a disgrace to what Jesus did on the cross. What you're doing is, what are you doing? And so they're trying to organize to change his mind. And my point was that when he went, if men are seeking truth, if individuals are wanting to carry on a personal relationship, they will reach out in relationship and love and have a discussion with you. But that never happened in this group. We have belonged to many other groups, all kinds of groups, where individuals will reach out and say, hey, what did you mean by Torah obedient? What did you mean when you said this? What did you mean by when you say that? And they're seeking the truth. And it doesn't matter if they agree with us, or it's just that they're willing to carry on a dialogue. This group of particular men that think they're great leaders in this church, they are doing nothing but trying to get Kevin back. And poor Kevin, he's listening to that white Nancy, his wife of his, and she's leading him down the wrong path. And so none of them reach out in love and dialogue and go, hey, I really don't understand your side, because they've never done that. And so that's where my thing is with him. To me, I just think he misses fellowship, because we're still in a place where, yes, we do this, but we have to all agree, each one of us, that it's much different than when you belong to an actual physical family and you're dying with them and you're celebrating with them and you're cheering each other on and you're each other's cheerleaders for not just your walk in your faith, but in life in general, and what your children and your everything, all your accomplishments and failures in life. And so, I love that we do this, but it's not the same as having somebody that lives down the road or in your neighborhood. So we've had problems because we do have good friendships and have maintained those friendships to the point where, I sat there and I had Kevin print out, I don't remember how many pages it was of what's your book, Joseph? The 7 Brides. and I printed the thing out, and I given it to these people in tears, just read this. You don't even understand. Just read this so that we can have a discussion afterwards. And nobody wants to. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to listen to it. And so I think if anyone remembers, last Shabbat, I brought up who's your brother and who's your neighbor. Because Yeshua says your neighbor is anyone who follows the ways of the Father is your brother and your mother. But who's your neighbor? Well, the Good Samaritan is a good parable of that. Everybody's your neighbor, but there's a lot of stuff. I don't have all scriptures, but there's a lot of things in between, and that was one of them, about shaking the dust off your shoes when you say something to somebody or whatever. And then we're talking about, I think the whole thing Joseph mentioned, the gal's question was about judgment and whatnot. And the only one I have is the one in Psalms when it says judge righteously. But
are you judging somebody when they reject your testimony? And so she's asking, are you judging them? And should you just walk away and say goodbye?
My personal opinion is that God orchestrates everything. I personally don't believe in just random whatevers. So when I have people that I meet, neighbors, where I live, I believe God places us all in different communities to be a light in that community. And so that anybody that's surrounding me, I'm going to live obediently to Torah and live my life first in love and relationship. And then, like what you said earlier, Joe, is if it's brought up, I think I heard one of the great rabbis, say when they teach, they ask questions. But if somebody doesn't ask a question back to you, the game's over.
Yeah.
And that's honestly how I felt. I felt like I was preaching, but they were completely rejected. They were blind. They were deaf to what I was saying, and they weren't seeking the answers. So
I have often felt like that when I'm giving my messages, what Kevin just said. And I wanted, before I forget, this conversation is already leading me to something that I wasn't expecting. So I'm kind of excited because I'm seeing something happen. It's already come up twice now. So, but many times when I was giving my teachings, especially in the early days, I'd be talking about the Sabbath and Jubilee years. I'd be talking about the Daniel 9 project. I'd be talking about this stuff. And I look out there and the audience was just kind of like glazed right over. And I said, what am I doing? Nobody's getting it. Am I speaking French? Am I speaking Portuguese? How come nobody's understanding me here? So yeah, but many years later, I just planted a good big garden full of corn and pumpkins and squash. And I got 3 corns come up out of about 300. I was so disappointed. And I said, what's the matter? What's going on here? And the rabbits have just eaten all my beans and my broccoli and cauliflower, and I can't shoot them, or I would, but I've been throwing stones at them and I can't hit them. I come close. But anyway, but you're planting seeds is what I'm trying to get to. You're planting seeds. And sometimes they just don't come up. But other times, like every single one of my radishes has come up, and I got so many radishes. So anyway, Susan, you've had your hand up for a while. Go ahead. Let me get you into this.
Thank you. And I'm very nervous about this, but I pray Jehovah puts the words in my mouth. A few weeks ago, I was talking to someone who had some trauma at some point in their life, and we were just chatting as friends. And they said they heard a message from God at one point when they were trying to influence the person who had caused the trauma. God said to them, you should really back off on your preaching because they're not listening. So you are going to have to leave them alone in order not to push them away. And all of a sudden into my head came, shake the dust off your feet. And I thought, wow, is that the true meaning in that part of the Bible? And I've thought about it for weeks now, and I really believe that if people aren't listening, I like your approach, Joe, and that's what I do. I sort of give little hints and whatever if I'm talking to somebody. If they don't respond, I'm gone. Like, I won't push it. But I'm wondering if that's what's meant, that if we keep push, those people are actually going to turn the other way and become rebellious because they're tired of people preaching to them. I don't know, but that's what I honestly think is meant there, that, you know, if they're not listening, let them go, because God will make them ready. He will take care of their hearts, and then you will be able to approach them on a simple level. So
that brings up a point. And what is a witness to do? Is he to convert them over? Is he to win them over? Or is he just to present the truth and move on?
yeah, I think it's just, you know, give them a simple idea, one that's true, that Jehovah is our Father, that we are to obey him. And you don't have to say it in those words, but you can just simply approach people. And then, you know, if they don't want to listen to it, it doesn't matter what you say, they're not going to listen to it.
Yeah.
So it's best to maintain your relationship and friendship and wait for the right time.
And just so everyone knows, we are still waiting for Randy to get hooked up with Ike from the Philippines, who's lost his connection here. It's about 2 a.m. in the morning there now, or 20 to 2. I think they're 12 hours ahead of us. So we're going to cut into Ike as soon as he gets his connection, if he gets that. And otherwise, we're going to carry on with this. Simon, go ahead. You got your hand up.
Shalom. Hey, just a couple of thoughts. So I have never attended the Road to Emmaus. I have attended something similar called the Tres Dias, which is almost identical to the Road to Emmaus. To be honest with you, Nancy, my wife, and I probably had a fairly similar experience to Kevin and Nancy's. Except guys go first with Tres Dias. I came out and I was like, yeah, all right, my boys. And then my wife came out like, I hated it. It was terrible. What I have come to realize is that that process, the people who were there genuinely loved us. They genuinely loved us. And we had the advantage that we went to that group from a Messianic congregation that had been kind of brought into that church group. And so they already kind of knew what to expect. They didn't feed us any pork or, you know, I mean, there was all kinds of things, but they were making exceptional arrangements for us compared to what they would do for themselves. And, but what happened was we came to realize that they loved us, but they did not understand what love is. Not from the biblical perspective, right? The concept that if you love me, you will follow my commandments is completely lost on them, right? That is just that's one of them Old Testament teachings. And so the reality of the situation is that I'm still in contact with some of those guys who did not come from the Messianic congregation. One of them in particular is a really good friend of mine, and we're still having that conversation. We've been having that conversation for 12 years. Okay, so if you're asking me when you quit on somebody, I would say when they absolutely refuse to hear what you have to say. If they're willing to continue in dialogue, which I think is Nancy's point, then there is not a time to quit on that person, right? Because truthfully, if just being in a different place developmentally precludes you from conversation, man, we should all just go to hell right now, because God should have quit on us before we were born, right? I mean, how far back are we, right? Can you even measure that far? I can't. And so reality-wise, I think that you don't cast your pearls before swine lest they turn and rip you to pieces, right? But
okay, so let me jump in there, Simon.
Sorry.
That's another good point. How do you know that they're swine, and how do you know that you shouldn't be trying to talk to them?
I think that's the point, right? You can't have a conversation with a pig or a dog. You can have a conversation with a person. If there's dialogue, then you know that it's still, look, if I think there's never a time to give up. There's never a time to give up when there's still a chance, right? Because here's the question: how many people do we know today who will be the thief on the cross or the stake, whatever you want to use, right? That's sitting next to Messiah on that day and say, remember me when you come into your kingdom. It didn't preclude him that it was his last breath. And so my feeling is this: if there's an open attack on you for bringing this message, I totally get it. You got to give somebody some space, right? But it's kind of like the analogy you just gave, right? You just gave an analogy about planting some seeds. I got lots of seeds planted in my garden. Some of them didn't come up this year. It was a weird year, right? And so I went out and I redug the ground and I planted seeds for something else, something completely different. I'm like, this is not going to grow, so I'm going to plant something else. Now I got both sets of crops growing in the same place, and I'm going, man, did I just sow my field with two different crops? You know, I didn't mean to do that, right? But the point is, sometimes God's timing and our timing, well, pretty much all the time, from what I can tell for me, God's timing and our timing is different, right? And so I think as long as he puts that person in front of us, as long as he keeps bringing that person in front of us, he's in control of that. And so we got to just be obedient. We weren't told to go out and disciple the people that we thought would be good disciples, which is good, because if that was the case, nobody would ever have discipled me, right? We were told to go out and make disciples of all men. And I believe that means all people, not all, just all men, because I don't want Nancy to get mad at me. Both Nancys, the one on the screen and the one sitting next to me, by the way. But the thing is, I think it's easy for people to reject us. I think that, you know, even Messiah fed the belly, right? So we got to give them the pieces they can digest, and then we got to give them the truth as well. And as long as they're willing to continue in conversation and dialogue, especially if they don't agree with us, we got to keep on talking until it's obvious that it's a good time for us to take a break, which is probably right now for me.
Okay, and on that note, Denise W. from Michigan, go ahead. Denise W., you got to unmute yourself.
There, can you hear me?
Now, speak up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, pretty much wanted to say what Simon said. When you talk to people and they're replying with anger and not with questions, their mind, I think, is pretty much closed. And so I just kind of drop the whole subject and wait for them to wake up and kind of remember, hey, remember that crazy barn lady? Remember what she said, you know? And then just hopefully they'll come back, and then maybe they'll ask a question or make a statement that you can reply to when they're not angry. So when they're angry, their mind is closed. I know when I'm angry, I'm not thinking about what others have to say. I couldn't care less. Then you got the people that just are quiet. They don't say anything. Maybe they'll smile a little bit. Well, you know what? They're not totally closed.
Denise, let me, I was just, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but did I just see Ike on here? Are you here, sir?
Yes, sir.
Well, we've been waiting for you. Are you ready to go? And I'd like to introduce you to Ike Mesias, so those of you who haven't met him. And Denise, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we've been waiting for Ike and we got a connection, so I don't want to lose him.
That's fine, I'll go. Bye-bye.
Ike, we have been talking here for about 50 minutes. We're 45 minutes, and we're waiting for you. You're the secret guest that I wasn't supposed to know about, but nobody knows the secret from me. So go ahead, sir. What did you want to teach us today?
Well, I had a technical problem, but now it seems the internet is working. So, I was reading a rabbi's rabbi's commentaries, the chief rabbi of America, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Sach, and he was teaching on Parasha Behar, which is the Torah portion on the curses on Leviticus 26. Okay, so Joseph, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Go on. I just took my picture
Okay,
off. So
so, so this curses is what you have been teaching us since we met in 2016 until now. And the rabbis was analyzing why is the punishment uh, severely being, uh, it's like a labor pains that intensifies and intensifies if one does not keep the Torah. And the text in the curses in Leviticus 26 is followed right after the Shemitah, which is your forte of teaching, keeping the sabbatical year, right?
mhm.
So the rabbi's commentary, I like it because he was just saying that people, like a child, would behave well if you teach him with a stick, a punishment. It's so true. If I do that to my son would behave if I hold a stick. So so the curses there, it's not that God is not gracious. It's the curses in Leviticus 26 and Deuteronomy 28 are there to make a statement that God is serious with the punishment, and that's it. If more people realize, if people are aware of the punishment, uh, even the psychologist believes that they would behave, they would change their behavior. There's more reason to change their behavior if they know that the punishment are keep on coming. So unlike the blessing also, I have heard with me in Deuteronomy 28, it says the blessing will overtake you in the city and outside the city. And the commentary of the Kumash says here that God will be so gracious to you that you will be overtaken by blessing, even if you make no effort to obtain them. The blessing will come even when logic and nature would indicate that they cannot happen. So this is a commentary from the traditional Kumash in page 1076 on Deuteronomy 28. So that means I heard it from you that even in 700 Club, when you were interviewed by Peter Kairos, you said, the blessing we don't even understand. We don't even really had experienced them yet because we have not been keeping the Shemitah, which is on Leviticus 25, which is your big discovery. And this blessing and curses for keeping the Shemitah in Leviticus 26, followed by the Leviticus 25 after that. And what is the power behind the curse? Why are there so much curse? As you said, you've been teaching about the curses, and everybody's teaching about the blessing. You're an expert on the curses. You're a master researcher on the cycle of curses, the cycle of war, the cycle of famine, and the cycle of pestilences, and so on and so forth. And so, why are these so? And now, as an application to that, and even Rabbi Yeshua in Matthew 24, he said 2,000 years ago that there will be troubles and pestilences such as the world has never experienced. And it is like a labor pain. So that means that it intensifies at, as time goes by. The intensity of pestilences, famines, and disease and wars are going to intensify. But Yeshua said, he said to his disciples, talking about past, present, and future, he said, this is not the end yet. The gospel of the kingdom must be taught into all the nations, into all the world, into all people, and to all nations as a testimony to the people. Then the end will come. So this morning in our Shabbat meeting, I taught on what is the gospel of the kingdom, because he says the end will come after the gospel of the kingdom will be taught to the nations, to the world. So I realized the gospel of the kingdom is the message of Torah, the message to return to Torah, to restore to the law and order, to restore to the theocratic government of God. And this is the last chance that people can return and repent and embrace God and His Torah. So I believe to us in this movement, this is our, I think, the, the end time timing, the timing that we're in the position now to preach the Torah to whomever God called, like what we're doing in the Philippines. We'll be doing what we can. And just a testimony to you guys. Uh, Everybody knows there was a lockdown around the world. In the Philippines, the lockdown due to coronavirus started on March 15. Until now, it's still locked down. Most places, there's no public transportation in the Philippines. And the city where we held our Shabbat, there's so many COVID cases just around the block where we held our Shabbat meetings. So you know what happened? We are building our Bible school, and in a month's time, it will be complete. And I realized God has just done a miracle. And we had our Shabbat meeting already, and we have a roof on our head, and we have our brethren coming over to the place, to the what we call the Torah Community Bible School. And surely this is a blessing for us and for the movement, especially in the Philippines. So the Torah is true. The blessing will come to you even when it's unthinkable, it's illogical. But for most of the world, we're not keeping Torah. It says, assurance there will be a blessing. There will be 7 times assurance, there will be more curses. So, therefore, the conclusion is, obviously, there's not a lot of people keeping Torah. 99% of evangelical Christian rejects Torah, and now everybody's hanging on their closet. Everybody's forbidden by the law. So, So what's going to happen next prophetically, I think, is even now there's rumors that there will be a second wave of pandemic, more COVID-19 coming. And surely the words of our Master Savior Yeshua has come to pass in our days, even now. So that there will be pestilences, there will be diseases coming. And as you have said, as you have taught us last time in Leviticus, in Deuteronomy 28, verse 22, it says, I will give you fever and disease and virus in the air. And definitely, I agree with you, Joseph, that you said, Jehovah is sent by God. It just happened to be born in China, in Wuhan, but we could say it's Jehovah sending the curse to send a message to the people that he is serious about his Torah. And the time clock is ticking and we are in the end times. And yeah, we believe on our teachings, Joseph, the 2030, the 2020 calendar. Um, but to me right now, I'm not going to wait for 2030, I'm going to prepare myself now, our families, our congregation, our Torah keeping brethren. We're going to prepare our Goshen as early as now. Whatever we can, whatever resources that we have, and just prepare for the coming Shemitah 2023. And the grace period is, as you see, the principle of grace period applies here. That means the grace period to return to rise, sticking so fast. And as much as we want to share the burden of bringing the Torah to the masses, and how that happened, we're doing our job, we're doing our best. And so we're building our Bible school and just pray God and how we will send more people to be able to study Torah and observe the Torah as a covenantal relationship to Jehovah. And so that's the power of blessing and curse. So the blessings are there to encourage us. The curses are there to remind us that if we don't behave according to the Torah, we're going to be severely punished. As a father chastises a child, it's more effective to teach the curses if you know that more severe punishment is coming. So it's like it's like we become so stupid if we still continue to break the covenant, if we know that there will be more curses. The problem is with well-meaning believers today, they don't believe on the curses. Like most preachers would dwell on the blessings, blessing, all blessing, manipulating people with their weaknesses because everybody wants a blessing. And these preachers on television, big ministries, would even say that there will be no more curses because of Jesus. See, so they don't understand the covenantal relationship with Yahweh. In fact, this morning, Brother Alvin, my co-teacher in our group, was teaching about heaven and earth as a witness. That means most curses comes from nature, comes from the earth, comes from the wind, comes from the earthquakes, come from the typhoons, comes from nature. So we just had our typhoon the other week, and we had another little typhoon just yesterday, and more coming. And the government, the Philippine government, is just having a big problem now with how to sustain the people with food and basic needs, because everybody has no jobs for the last 2 to 3 months. So that's why I would agree with the cited moon teachings that the next curses or problem in line with these, curses that are in the COVID is famine. It's really possible, because if people cannot do business, if the businesses are shut down, people have no income, and they have no money, and their money is not enough to buy the basic needs, and they'll be hoarding. So soon enough there'll be famine. So right now in our Torah community, we started to, you know, plant the seeds and get used to it. So we moved to our farmland since 3 months ago, since March 15th, and we want to tell our brethren that they have to learn how to adjust their urban lifestyle, in the city, because no matter how comfortable they are in the city, if the pandemic is continue to grow stronger, so it's useless. And mind you, even the well-off people, the middle class and the upper class, they too are complaining. They, I don't know. It's just the great equalizer, the COVID-19, and God makes everybody look stupid, like shutting down the whole world with an unseen enemy in the air. So this is how smart God is. And our only, I believe the only way to stop God's wrath is to follow Torah and keep Torah and spread the Torah as much as we can. So we're doing a job. I don't know about you, so many here in the Zoom meeting, but in the Philippines, we tried our best. We did our best. Since 2005, we've been preaching the Torah, and we had led thousands of people to the Torah already. And yet, I feel like we barely did anything yet. So I feel like, is that it? Is that it? 1,000 people keeping Torah? Is that it? I think I'm not contented. It's got to be at 10,000, something like 10,000 people keeping Torah. Like God wants, those that are 100%. Like the past 2 weeks, I've been rebuking our brethren because they thought that keeping the Sabbath is what the Torah is all about. Like, oh, I've been keeping the Sabbath for 5 years. Oh, brother Ike, I've been keeping the Sabbath for 4 years. And I rebuke the brethren in these past weeks, and I rebuke them. The Torah is not just Sabbath. It's all the laws in the Torah that God is serious about. The 613 commandments, you need to study it and meditate on it, gain wisdom from it. It's the solution to the world's problem. And as big as the commandment of Sabbath is, the Shemitah is even the bigger commandment. And nobody is paying attention to it. So, and also the moral commandments of the Torah. See, so if you don't push people in the back, they don't move forward. If you don't slap the horse, it won't run. So
Did we lose you, Ike?
I think you need to
Oh.
be bolder. We're getting yes.
No, okay, we
I
can hear
think I
you.
have already. So is there an interaction here or something like questions?
Yeah, I what you're saying today, and some of the questions that we had before. I was just trying to pull up the article that I was doing for next week's newsletter, and it's gone. My whole newsletter is gone from next week, and about about letting your light shine, and all these scriptures that I pulled up for letting your light shine. Man, that makes me mad. The whole newsletter is gone. I'm going to scream. But it's referring to the Philippines. Every scripture about letting your light shine in Isaiah is connected to the Philippines. So
Mm,
Isaiah 42, Isaiah 45, Isaiah 60, and I think 66, it's referring to the Philippines and letting our light shine and your light shine there in teaching the gospel. So for you coming on today and the questions that we had before this is perfect timing. Perfect timing. So what now, because I didn't know you were going to be here today until just a few minutes ago. What plans have you got? What, and it goes into the question we had before you came on here. The question was, how do you know when to teach somebody and when to stop teaching them and walk away? And the point that I never got to bring up was you and how you do this, and even how Bishop Talafor does it in Burundi. But the way that you bring the Torah to these Catholics and Protestants and other church denominations is kind of pretty neat. You want to talk to people how you do that? How do you share the Torah in the Philippines in a Catholic dominated nation?
Well, I don't know, but I have a secret. Do you want to know the secret?
We want the secret. And then when you tell them, tell them what you told me when I first came there. Or is that the secret?
No, what I'm thinking is, I think it's my deep relationship with Jehovah since I discovered the Torah in 2005, and coupled with fasting and prayer. So I made a deal with Jehovah. Even in the Western Wall in 2006, I went there and prayed. I barely knew about Torah, and I just talked to God. I told him I have a deal with God. I told Jehovah, I told him, you know, I don't know anything about what you want me to do, but if you want me to do it, I'll do it. But I told Jehovah, okay, this is the deal. I will do what you want me to do, but you make sure you will choose the people that you bring to me. And you choose it. So I make the Abrahamic prayer. Okay, the Abrahamic prayer is there 10 people there? Is there 2 people there? So I asked, okay, there are 100 pastors here, but I'm asking you for the 10 that is already being screened. That's my covenant with Jehovah. For example, in 2006, I made a deal with Jehovah that I will return to the Philippines after my trip to Israel. And I made a deal, okay, you want me to go back to the denomination that I came from, the United Pentecostal Church? Jehovah said, okay, this is your mission. You need to go back and tell them about Surah. So I made a deal. I told him, I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I'm not even a teacher. I don't even know what my ministry back then. But I told him, if you want me to teach Torah, just choose those people that you already chose. Not me. You bring the people, you bring that pastor to me, the one you already choose, and make my life easy. That's the deal. So coupled with prayer and fasting, that's how it started. I just met pastors that are open then. And like Pastor Pike, I met Pastor Pike in 2008, just one guy. One guy. So I teamed up with him, and Pastor Pike brought 10 pastors. So me and Pastor Pike, we taught these 10 pastors for years. Now these 10 pastors brought all the congregation to Torah. So, and that's an answered prayer because that's my deal to Jehovah. Please make my life easy, because if I will be frustrated, I might not be able to have the patience to continue. So this is how Jehovah works in my life now. He just let me meet people that are, the good seed. And my prayer is those people that are really not called out, I don't have time with them. We can plant the seed, but one time, two time, three time, you see that the seed is not growing, then go to the next. Pray, and where's the next one? So what this is, you know that we already built our 2-story structure for the Bible school now in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
It's a miracle where we got the money to build it. So we're ready to operate the Bible school, and now we're praying, okay, bring the students here. Wherever they are, the strategy now is different, Joe. If people wants to study Torah in Mindanao, we will bring them back to Manila, stay here for 1 week, 2 weeks, teach them Torah, then they go back. Because if I'll be going there, it's more a waste of, the time, the focus. So that's the strategy now. I think it depends on how serious a person is with his relationship with the covenant of you, and his really zeal and desire to let other people know. So it so happened I'm just a very serious person, and when I discovered the Torah, and it points me to the purpose in life, and to the meaningful life, and to the blessing. So I take hold of it, and the rest is the good results.
One of the things, Ike, that you were saying to me before was that when we went into a church, when we went into any of the churches that we went into, you found what was common, what we both said and agreed on. And from there, once you went into that church, then you started to expand on those things that they already knew to teach Torah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, in the first few years of my, desire to share the Torah, uh, because I'm a salesperson, before I work as an insurance agent, non-life insurance. I work in the marketing, so I realized you need to present the Torah in a way that people can, you start with something that they already know. So, but the past few years, it's different than now. Because now, the game has changed, because if you happen to know about the Office of the Presidential Religious Affairs, which is our friend, Bishop Butch Belica is the head, and he has appointed me as one of the lecturer for ministers in around the Philippines. And now the ball game is different. The ministerial groups are when they hear that, let's say I go to Mindanao and I introduce myself as one of the lecturers of the Office of the Presidential Religious Affairs, of FARA, and they will say, okay, I'll give you 1 hour for our ministerial meeting. Okay, there's another meeting there in that city. There'll be 200 pastors. I'll give you an hour to speak about what the agenda of FARA. Now it's different. God has given us the venue to speak about Torah, peace. Yes, it's rejected, but because we have the authority from OPARA, Office of the President, now we can even share. But since the lockdown, things are getting, everything is afloat. But once the things normalize, I think we're going around many cities to teach again with the authority of the Office of the President. Because our friends, Bishop Belica, Greco Belica, they are appointed by President Rodrigo Duterte themselves. So the ball game is changed, and we didn't have to be like before. We need a lot of patience, befriend the pastor, make friends with them, don't offend them, something like that. But now it's different. You can tell the truth up front because the gospel of the kingdom must be preached to all the nations. The gospel of the Torah, the restoration of the kingdom of the Messiah and the theocratical government. Tell them, if they reject it, like I spoke in Davao City, before the lockdown, I was in Davao City. So Bishop Lumasag had an event with 500 pastors, and he let me talk for more than an hour about the feast. And I was explaining to these pastors how we're going to unite all Christians together with the feast of the Jehovah, the feast of the Lord. And guess what? After my speaking engagement, 3 people went up to me and says, "Brother, I've been keeping the feast." Three pastors. So out of the 500 pastors that were there, 3 people come to me and say, "Hey, we've been starting to keep the feast." So just like I did not elaborate to you, but if the lockdown did not happen, we're supposed to have a big meeting in Davao because Bishop Lumasag, the head of this organization of 4,000 pastors in Mindanao, agreed to celebrate with us the feast of Shavuot. So I looked for a venue and I thought you were coming over, but everything changed when the lockdown started to happen because of the coronavirus. So I don't think it's a big missed opportunity, but because right now most of the events involving many people they have they have no authority to gather themselves in big groups. So the ball game has changed. That's why we are looking to social media now and Zoom. But right now in the farm, there's no internet yet. That's why I'm here in another house. So I think the end is really come already. Like what you said, 2020 has come to pass. But we did our job. I think there's still few times left. And I'm very positive and optimistic that our Bible school will be the next thing that is going to happen for the Torah movement. That means We're going to let people know that we are very serious with Torah studies. And you will be our prophecy teacher there. And we could record the teachings, and we're going to put a signboard on the streets, big, signboard that we exist, and let people know. So the strategy has changed now. We are coming up on the open. Like before, I don't tell people, pastors, that I'm a Torah keeper, something like that. I just befriend them. But now things have changed. We are now telling people up front. And because of the authority of the Para, we just tell, Pastor, you need to come back to the Torah, or else, where would you go? See, they realize. That's why Randy was asking me, what are you going to teach, brother? I told Randy, okay, Randy, I have something prepared. The power of a curse. Just like what Joseph Domon has been mastering. The curse expert. So now I'm coming to realize that since COVID-19 pandemic, Christians are realizing that indeed it's true. There will be a curse. And it started to happen, and more are coming. And so people are starting to listen. Last Shabbat, 2 people got baptized, or three people just from the internet. And I think one of them is here now in the Zoom meeting, is Isaac Quintana. So Isaac Quintana is a Christian who got to Torah lately, and she's now very active on the internet, Facebook, telling other people. So there are very few of us, if we consider the big number of Christians, not serious about Torah. We're but a very few. But just like in the days of Noah, only Noah's family was saved in the ark. So
how can we help? How can we help in spreading this message throughout all the Philippines? You and I have talked about different things before, and we're going to talk some more here tomorrow. But how can the people here that are listening, the people here that are tuned in, and they're going to ask you some questions here in a little bit, but how can we help get this message out?
Well, honestly, I have not dealt with Western people very much,
I have.
Much of
They're not fun.
Yeah, you know them, you know how they, react, and upfront, and I don't know about Western culture. I've never been to the Western countries. The only country I visit is Israel, outside the Philippines. So I think our common ground is we all believe that the Torah is the way of life that Jehovah wants us to do. So we start on that because we're in the same boat, we're on the same ark. So I think how you can help, one is if you know people from the Philippines who you interact through the Facebook and social media, and you share them the Torah and the truth, the Hebraic roots, just refer them to us. So now we have the structure of the building. Now we can recruit students to study there full time. So like, you know John Sisma, right? John Sisma, is she's here now?
Yeah, yeah. She might not be here today
John
because
Sisma.
she might not be here today. She had something. I think she has a grandchild being born today, so she might be there with the grandchild. But yes, she helps us a great deal.
Okay. So John Sisma to a woman, Isa Quintana. I think she's now live here in Zoom the meeting. And now, after a few months of sharing, Isa was referred to us, and she was with us last Shabbat. She got baptized in Yeshua's name. That's it. So now Isa can feel a family in the Torah movement. So at the least, that's what you can do to help the Philippine movement. Because how many friends do you have in Facebook? So share the Torah. So those are positive and optimistic. Just share it to me. You can refer them to me, and we'll make follow-ups on them and invite them to our Torah Community Bible School. And if they want to learn Hebrew and Hebrews, so we are setting up our school. So that's something that we can do. Study, 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 study. So that's the least you can do
Okay,
because
so
we live far away.
ladies and gentlemen, while we have Ike here, and if you got any questions, go ahead and put your hand up, and I'll let you ask your question, and we'll let Ike answer it and carry on. So, Ike, how many people you're in Ipolo now? Is that where you are?
Antipolo City, yeah, it's like 1.5 hour drive from the main city, Manila.
And how many
It's
people
not
are
far.
how
It's
many
only
people
one
are
and a
with
half
you
hour
there
drive.
now? How many people are with you there now, and how many are still in Manila?
Uh, just this morning, we had about 40 people came to have Shabbat meeting, despite the government's, social distancing rules. And we even feel people bring their dogs and their cats, and there's no problem because there's a lot of space, and we have our parking lots. So it's a big blessing that we have our place developed. Like what I said, the funds were provided miraculously. So
And how many other associate groups are there with you?
well, because we are now promoting our ministry as a Torah Community Bible School, inquiring about how can we study, what's what is the price of the tuition. So again, so we don't. So this is the thing. We don't charge people with our teaching, but on the basic level, we just say, okay, what we will be charging is the food. Okay, because promotion. But if people cannot afford it, okay, we will find a sponsor for you if you're qualified. If you're a pastor, we will do something that can, so that uh, just to let you into the Torah Bible School. Because studying the Hebraic foundation, it takes a lot of focus. So we are just promoting it that way so that people will know we are very serious. It's a Bible school now that we are promoting, and that's it. So this is another level of, this is exciting because so we are getting more integrity on this. It's amidst the lockdown. The thing is, this happens on the lockdown period, March 15 to March 18.
Yeah. Simon, you had your hand up. Go ahead, sir.
I may have missed this, but I just wanted to know. So you're sponsoring people who cannot otherwise come to your school, and I guess my question to you is, um, what does it look like? Um, what does it cost you guys to sponsor a pastor to come to your school? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah, it's a little bit choppy, but you asking how to sponsor a pastor. Okay. Okay, it depends if the pastor is from Manila. So we will just ask him to provide for the food and a little about the electricity, because these are the basic things that we need to pay. We don't have rent. It's our property, and just the food. So
Ike,
3 times a day.
you're an incredibly gracious gentleman. I guess I need to be a little more direct with my question. So we're here in America. You said we're far away. Got it.
Okay.
But you know, th- if people here wanted to help you sponsor somebody to the Bible school, are you able to hear me? Okay.
Okay,
If
okay, okay.
Yeah, if we wanted to help sponsor people to your school, to your shul, what would it take from this side of the ocean to make that happen?
Ike, what he's asking is
Well, as
how
we've
much does
always
it
said,
cost? How much does it cost to feed the pastor there for one day?
okay, one day is like at least $5 a day.
And how long would a pastor be attending a course there to learn the things that you're teaching per session?
It depends on the availability of the pastor. So uh, it could be five. It depends on the ability. It could be, there are young people that are wanting to do this full time, like every day, which is also possible. And a pastor, it depends if the pastor is from Mindanao. Like there's a Bible school in Mindanao that we are working on, Pastor Wilmer. So I would tell him, okay, who is your best student? Bring your best student here. So in that way, if the pastor is from Mindanao, we need to sponsor the ticket so that they will come here,
And
just to teach them Torah. Because
how much is that ticket?
so the ticket is like 3,000 pesos divided by 50, $75 for the ticket. So round trip, $150 plus $5 a day on the food. That's it. So we don't charge. I rely on Jehovah, how he will provide, because so we don't charge our teachings. We live by faith. We have our own ways.
So
But our
Simon,
main
does
Thank
thing
you.
is just to reach out to pastors, to make them easy to learn Torah.
Simon, does that
Yes.
answer you?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Kevin Beebe, go ahead. You got your hand up.
I was gonna ask for how many people, what's your capacity? And are you looking for physical bodies to come? Are you just looking for monetary amounts? Like what is your list of needs?
Needs. Well, the capacity now, I think the initial capacity now is at least 20 students. We can make it possible for 20 students at the same time. The needs, it's never ending needs, we need to renovate this and that. But it's just if the question is how you can help, I think you just need to pray about it, and that's like what I always did. Whatever's in your heart, you know, it's the basic things is just the food, you know. The Filipinos are not spoiled, you know. We can live with even $3 a day. You can live with that. You know, we are
Could
not spoiled, you
probably
know.
learn
We're
something from
simple
you.
people.
I'm sorry, Simon, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, I just cut in without putting my hand. I just said we could probably learn quite a bit from you.
Oh, we will learn tons from the Filipinos. Do not presume that you're going there to teach them all your great knowledge. You're going to learn how to be humble, how to be polite, how to be nice. Because in our Western society, we don't know these things very well. And that's the one thing that will stand out to you in the Philippines is how polite they are, how respectful they are of teachers, of religious teachers, of seniors. They have respect galore. And it hurts me to think about how respectful they are compared to how not respectful we are here in the West. So, Sarkis, go ahead. You got your hand up.
I had one more question. Sorry.
Okay, hold on, Sarkis. Sorry, go ahead, Nancy.
When the travel ban's lifted, are you welcoming, let's say, people here in this group to come visit and come learn and help out? Are you welcoming that?
Of course, that's Joseph and I are brothers, you know. So Joseph's friends are our friends. So, and who Joseph considered to be brothers and sister is our brother and sister. So
tomorrow we have a meeting tomorrow. It's a business meeting, something that I don't want to do on Shabbat. Tomorrow we're going to talk some hard numbers and some real realities. And that's what we're doing tomorrow morning. And I'm hoping Ike can join us. It'll be late at night for him. But that's what we're planning on doing tomorrow. And to try and get some of the gears in motion that we need to get in motion in order to do what I believe we got to start doing next. So we're going to do that tomorrow. Okay, Sarkis, go ahead. You got your hand up.
Okay. I have two questions. One is, in terms of what is your vision for capacity? Are you thinking of growing to like 20, 50, 100 students, like the School of Prophets that, you know, they do it in China and other places? And the second question is, how do you respond to people who, I have friends who are who are older than me, and they keep saying, why should we respond to the curses the way we hear you teach that we need to repent to go to Torah? Because we have our parents experienced World War I, World War II. They went through the famine, the diseases, and all of that. What's the difference now?
your first question is, our capacity is open for, you know, progress, because we have like, it's a farmland, so there are more spaces there to build on. It's like 7,000 square meters, like 14,000 square feet, and half of it is buildable. So as the Jehovah leads, who knows? 20 students will become double, who knows? As long as they're committed teachers, as Jehovah provides, we'll just move on as many as we can. So So this is the next level of commitment and responsibility that we are in now. So with us to your question on the curses, like why are the curses in the book of Deuteronomy 28 is like 7 times more than the blessing. So just like what I've shared to you, that it comes from a rabbi in America, is Jonathan Sack. He was explaining the curses, that there is power in the curses in such a way that the curses are a motivator, is a great motivator, but you don't want to be punished. But because people are spoiled now, and maybe they will just repent if the curses are really coming. Like what happened to COVID-19. It's real. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's wearing a mask. So now they see that the curses are real. So if more of these curses are coming, I think people will start to change their mind and say, I think this is really real. I think you people guys are telling the truth, because this is becoming so real now. Like Joseph Dumont has been tweeting about 2020 and wars and troubles, and it's coming too fast. And people started to see that, oh, it's becoming so real. Maybe he's right. Maybe he's telling the truth. So people are very skeptical. But to us who understand and really have faith on the words of the Torah as the words of that Yehovah that comes from the mouth of Yehovah, we take every word very seriously. So I think much of the world will really not repent. I think. So I will just pray, you know. That's why it's been my policy to do the Abrahamic bidding, the prayer, like, Abba, why, if there's 10 people, will you stop the curse? If there's 2 people, you bring us 2 people, bring us 10 people, bring us 100 people. So God will, Jehovah will give you the number if you really desire. But first, we need to be very, very serious with the Torah. Like, I think that's, even if there's only 2 of you, very serious with the Torah, I think people will come to you and wanted to learn also. And, you know, it's like a living waters.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There's a couple comments here.
Okay.
That from Robbie Guzman. I visited MLTC in 2018 for 2 months, where Ike is and definitely felt like I was with family. And then Johanan.
Robbie, yeah, Robbie.
Johanan Mersch from.
By the way, I have a Canadian friend. Come over. By the way, I have a friend from Canada right here now with me. It's Nathan.
Hello, Nathan. How are you?
Fine. I watch your Sighted Moon website all the time.
Very good. Where are you from in Canada?
I'm from Northwest Territories.
That's not Canada. That's far
NWP.
away. Yeah.
I tell people I'm from near Alaska because they don't even know where that is.
Yes, I know. It's very
But he's
far
a
up
Filipino.
Yeah, I just tell people I'm from near Alaska. Oh, awesome. We got some hello from Vancouver.
I'm glad to
So
meet
he's
you.
a Filipino who grew up in Canada. Now he wants to learn Torah. So he's one of the students.
Awesome. Awesome. And Johanan from Holland says he attended MOTC for about a year via Facebook Live. And he says it is as if I was with family. Like Robbie said, it was really amazing. So there's definitely something about MLTC for all of us to learn from. And yeah, they come on live and it's like midnight here, Friday night. But I've attended some of the meetings myself live on Facebook, and Ike speaks Philippine English, and it makes it hard to follow sometimes, but he has tons of slides there for everyone to learn from. I don't know if that answered your second part of your question there, Sarkis. Did we get to that?
No, because the answer, that I find out most of the time is they don't want to identify what is sin, and Torah teaches us what is sin. And the key where people need to understand, the curse is given to us to teach us what is sin, so that we don't repeat it, so that we align ourselves with Jehovah. And just like Rabbi was teaching about, that is, the stick is meant to bring us back into the covenant, to learn how not to sin, but to live a righteous life, and obedient. And I believe I was on target in that, but I do understand people reject Torah because they don't want to someone telling them and defining to them what is sin.
No law, no definition of sin. No law, no definition of sin. No sin, no need of savior. So
yeah,
no need of
that is
grace.
right.
Yeah. Ike, I got another question here from Mike. Mike helped put together the Kingdom books that we sent down to you, the Kingdom lessons for the Kingdom. And so he's asking quietly and privately, are they of help to you? Have you been using them? Because you're not the only one that got them. We've sent them to 3 other ministries, one to Dennis and one to Ilian in Bohol, I believe it is. But have they been a help to you? Have you used them?
Well, we have not really used it because of the time constraint that we went to these places. But because we need manual, we need to tell the students, oh, this is one of the teachers, this is the author, this is what it did. So now with the Bible school, I think we're going to make it official. But prior to that, because I've been from one place to another place and very quick and very fast. So we even haven't the time. But I do appreciate your efforts in bringing that together, because that's one of the topics that we have been dealing to bring Christians to the Torah. It's to the concept of a kingdom. So in fact, this morning we had a 2-hour teaching on the subject of kingdom, me and Brother Alvin. So I'm going to upload it in Facebook right after this. So thank you for that. But I think it will be much use when the Bible school will be operational soon.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to discuss it, and you will help. You will be the one. So Joseph, you have an assignment. Since it's your ebook, you will explain it.
Yeah,
you need to explain by page.
I'm looking forward to that. And just so that everyone here knows, we were talking about how much you want to teach somebody and convert somebody and lead them to the Torah. And I want you to think about what it would be like to sit in a room where you have 20, 30, 50 people who want to learn from you, who want to learn the things that you know. And I want you to think about that. And people that are hungry to learn the truth. When I was in the Philippines, that's all I saw. Everywhere I went, everywhere that Ike dragged me, he wore me out. He had me teaching 3 times in a day some days. And everywhere I went, people wanted to know. They wanted to learn. Now, how many of those people came? Sorry, go ahead, Ike.
So what? Make your last statement. What is it?
No, I was just wondering, out of all the people that we spoke to, in both the 2015, 2016, and 2018, how many of them have now kept Torah? How many of them are keeping Torah? I do know there's a growing bunch in Mindanao.
If you remember this medium-sized churches who you teach about prophecy, uh, you remember that wonderful pastor who was keeping the Sabbath already and the feast, and
The
they
day you had your
even
car towed away? Yes, I do.
yes, the day after, that pastor is now keeping the Sabbath, the church, and they even the complete Jewish Bible, they publish it in the Philippines already to make it uh, less costly for people to have another version of the Bible. So I've not been very in touch with them because I'm busy with our own group. But I guess it's spreading. There are many people. That group is spreading, keeping the Torah, and that alone. So Pastor Pike's group with the Pentecostals, so are growing and growing. And so I've been planting the seed in Dumaguete City, Palawan, Iloilo, Bacolod, Mindanao, Zamboanga. We had a Bible school there, small group, Davao. So we are doing, we're just doing as Jehovah leads, we're just doing. It's like what you said. Uh, once Jehovah has the target, we just shoot them with a barrel. This is the one. Okay, one of the tribal, it's like, I, it's just Jehovah bringing me the right people. Like this tribal leader in Bukidnon, his name is Pastor Paundag. And I just shared to him the Shabbat, and he started to keep Shabbat, and he experienced the blessing. And my last trip in Davao, we already agreed to put the first Torah center in the tribal group. So, of course, I cannot do all these things, in one time. It has to be follow up. It's work, but it's to me, it's fun. It's fun. It's the greatest uh, thing that you could do with your life. I think Jehovah is choosing the right person. I think he's just choosing the perfect people for the Torah. That's it. So, coupled with prayer and fasting, we will gain success little by little. Bishop Belica has been serious about the agenda of the Office of the President Religious Affairs. And if I can tell you, you might be surprised that they want to teach the fees to every governor, mayor, and in every city in the Philippines. Bishop Belica.
Awesome.
And so once this will happen, uh, this will be presented while President Duterte is still the president, and make it a law possible. What the House Bill 6312 did not accomplish, it could be accomplished as a presidential executive order. That's the plan.
Do you guys all just understand what he just said? Like, do you grasp the gravity of this? That would be the second nation outside Israel, to have the holy days of Leviticus 23 as national holidays. When I was there, we spoke in front of the parliament, some parliament members, and I don't know what I said, but whatever I said, a week later, they were saying they were drafting a law to make this into a law, which is Bill 6312. And, they asked me and Jeremiah Belkacka to reword it and make it more legal. So we did that, a great honor, but it didn't go. It hasn't passed. I got past second reading, but never got the third and final reading. So now through the office that President Duterte is assigned to Bishop Belkacem, there's this opportunity to once again have this law by executive order created to make the Philippines the only other nation to have the Holy Days of Leviticus 23 as part of their law. Yeah.
It's here. Republic of the Philippines, of the Office of the President, Religious Advisor for Religious Affairs, the Philippine Moral Transformation. You build a chapel in your own house. This is the booklet being presented by Bishop Belica, our friend. And you can see his picture here. And what he suggests is Duterte is approving this booklet to teach Shabbat to every Filipino. Look. The Sabbath, teach the Sabbath to every Filipino. And let them do it at home on their own. So
what you're seeing, ladies and gentlemen,
so
is
this
the
is
groundwork,
something, you know,
the
that has
groundwork
never
that,
happened.
the groundwork that Jehovah is laying out already, you know, to get the people started, to get them thinking about it. They just need to be taught. The whole nation needs to be taught. Anyone else got
Yeah,
any
teach
more?
the Sabbath to every Filipino.
Has anyone else got any more questions they'd like to ask?
Look, the picture
How
of
can
Duterte.
we find you on Facebook?
Facebook. My Facebook is Ike Mesias.
And Ike is I-K-E?
AIKE.
A-I-K-E, yes.
A-I-K-E. Okay, thank you.
Has MLTC got a Facebook page?
No, no, no.
Okay. And Beatrice has just put the link on the chat section there for you, Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, here's President Duterte's picture. And I think it's... So this is, okay. It's like page 3 of this booklet. It has President Duterte's picture there. Build a chapel in your own house. It's like the evening Sabbath meal, a covenantal family altar. If you look at the pattern, it's Hebraic, you know. So where did Bishop Belica got it? From the traditional Sabbath Siddur of the Jewish. So Bishop Belica has been upfront with telling other bishop and pastor about the Sabbath.
Mhm.
And they cannot do anything about it because he's appointed by Duterte. So he has the guts to tell them. At one time, Bishop Belica spoke to like 500 pastors, and I was there on Saturday morning. You know what he told the pastors in front? He says, all of you are guilty of death and murder because you violated the Sabbath. That's how bold Bishop Belica is. So we need somebody like that who has the balls, you know, to tell.
Okay. So if there's no more questions, and I'm gonna act, would you do a closing prayer? I did the opening prayer before you got on here. Can you do a closing prayer for us right now? And bless, bless the Philippines and bless the people here that are wanting to help but not sure how to help. And just ask Jehovah to be with us in our endeavors. Can you do that, please?
Okay, I haven't heard from Randy Cates. He's the one who invited me because the reason why I've not been online for almost 3 months, we don't have internet yet, but somebody is trying to provide us with a special antenna to boost our internet in the Torah Community Bible School because it's a remote area. It's a farm. So that's the reason why I've not been online for many, many days. It's only now. It's Randy Cates did the inviting that I cannot refuse. Where is Randy Cates?
I'm here, brother. I'm here.
Oh, you're here.
I'm here. My internet
Oh, Randy's having
is
trouble with
choppy
his
right
internet.
now, but yes, I just want to say you, everything that Joe said about you, yes, being you took me when I was there for the 10 days of my life. And I'm looking forward to being back here with you, working hard.
Randy Cates, you already
Bottom of
have
my
many
heart, man. Thank you very much for
invitations.
coming here today. And hey, I'm ready. Trust me. I'm
Yeah,
just
I
excited.
know.
I'm really excited in the doors, and I'm just giddy. I mean, I can't say anything. I've been sitting here listening, and I'm just excited. It's good to see your face again, and I'm just ready to get there and get busy.
Yeah, brother. Yeah,
So,
we're
again,
the situation is improved. Okay, I pray. Okay, that's requested. Um, as that book of Numbers, chapter 9, verse 26 says, this is how you bless your people, Israel, Aaron. So I'm not a Levite. I don't know what DNA I have, but I'm sure I have the DNA of Yeshua and Jehovah. So Jehovah bless you and keep you. Jehovah make his face shine upon you. Jehovah lift up his countenance upon you and be gracious upon you. Jehovah give you peace and shalom. In the name of the Prince of Peace, Yeshua Messiah, Jesus Christ. Amen. May Jehovah bless the work of Sighted Moon, and may Sighted Moon come together. All the people who have believed on the teachings of the Torah and through the Sighted Moon ministry, may they come together as one. May they endeavor to have a closer covenantal relationship, and may the people whom Joseph has share the knowledge of the Shemitah and the Jubilee cycle and the wisdom of the sighted moon calendar and the Jubilee cycle, the prophecies, the calendar. May you bring us closer to the patterns of the Torah, the prophetic pattern, so we can know the times, the sign of the times, and make decisions that are wise, make decisions that are perfect. You know, we just need Abba, we just need you to help them and help everyone else to make the perfect decision, to make the wise move, and just make the obedience so heavy and so serious so that you will be serious to us as well. As we are getting very serious with the Torah, Jehovah will be very, very serious in our plans for us. So I know and I know that Jehovah has brought Joseph Dumont to have a relationship with us in our ministry, and he's our brother. And to whomever he called brother and sister, they are our brothers and sisters as well. So may Jehovah, whatever is planned for us in a big way, in a little way, may Jehovah just make it come together and show us the way, show us the plans, so we can fit into the plan of Jehovah. Nothing short of perfection, Abba. It's just you doing all this work. We just flow with it. We just fit in and just obey and obey and obey. Hear and obey. Study, study, study. Make that lifestyle of studying the Torah. And this is what Jehovah wants. And just like what is said in John 15:14, ask the Father, as Yeshua said, as I obey the Father, just obey me and ask anything in my name. Jehovah, help us overcome our shortcomings. Help us to overcome our little faith and just make us warriors and make us bold as lions and just help us, teach us, and just empower us always. It's you doing all this work. We just flow with it, and together we can make it done. Thank you so much. So thank you so much, Silent Moon, for inviting us. Thank you, Randy. Joseph, thank you, and all the brethren. Hope to see you again.
Thank you, Ike. I know it's 3 a.m. there for you. So,
Okay, once we got the internet on the Bible school, we're going to be online more often than this. It's like we will do Zoom meeting every day with
okay.
churches every day. We're just waiting for the internet access. Okay. So thank you, thank you.
Shalom.
Shalom,
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom. Okay. And
Shabbat tov. It's already good. It's already Sunday, 3 a.m. here.
Yes.
So
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now, and thank you all for coming. And we will have another speaker next week. I'm not sure who that is. Could be a surprise. But please do come back, and we look forward to you here. But after this, we're going to have a discussion of whatever you guys want to talk about. And Shabbat shalom, everyone.